I used to think Tokyo never really slept. Even at 2 a.m., there's always someone, a drunk salaryman, a convenience store clerk, a taxi driver waiting at a red light under an empty pedestrian bridge. The city feels safe because it's crowded, because there are always eyes. That's what I believed, until I learned what happens under Shinjuku after those eyes go home. My name is Ren. I'm a university student and a member of the parkour circle, which basically means I like climbing on things campus security doesn't want me to climb. To pay rent, I work nights as a bike courier for a tiny production company that edits TV dramas. Most of the time the job is simple: pick up a hard drive from one studio, weave through traffic, drop it at another. Tokyo at night is a playground of empty side streets and yellow lights. Then one Friday, my boss handed me a delivery that wasn't like the others. "We need this at Shinjuku Subcenter by 3, he said, holding out a black, unmarked hard drive inside a padded case. "It's a rush job. Don't be late." "Subcenter?" I repeated. "You mean the big TV building near the station?" He shook his head. "Not that one. This is internal." He lowered his voice slightly, like the other two people in the office might overhear over their headphones. "You'll meet a station manager in the East Maintenance lobby. He'll take you the rest of the way." "The rest of the way where?" "To the old platform." I laughed. "What, the ghost platform?" Anyone who's been online in Japan long enough has heard some version of the rumor. Shinjuku has more levels underground than are shown on any map. Hidden platforms, sealed tunnels, tracks that were built and never used. Perfect fuel for urban legends. My boss didn't laugh. "Just go," he said. "And follow whatever rules they give you. This one's important." I got to Shinjuku just before 2:20 a.m., after the last official trains had already left. The station felt wrong without people. The giant advertisement screens were still glowing, but they were showing static images: a smiling idol frozen mid-laugh, a silent cup of instant ramen steaming in an endless loop. The floor echoed under my footsteps in a way I'd never heard before. I wheeled my bike to the east exit, as instructed, and found a metal door marked staff only. Beside it, a middle-aged man in a dark blue uniform was smoking, the tip of his cigarette a tiny red eye in the fluorescent hallway. "Ren?" he asked. "Yes." He crushed the cigarette and unlocked the door. "Leave the bike," he said. "You won't need it down there." "Down where?" He didn't answer, just motioned for me to follow. The maintenance corridor behind the door looked nothing like the public station: exposed pipes, bare concrete, faded arrows on the floor pointing toward words I didn't understand. The air was cooler, tinged with oil and dust. After a few minutes of walking, the man spoke. "3 rules," he said. "Listen carefully." I almost laughed, remembering my boss's warning, but something about his tone killed the joke. "Okay," I said. "First," he said, "once we get to the platform, you do not step on the yellow safety line. Not with your toes, not by accident, not even to tie your shoe. Keep your feet on the white tiles only." "Why?" "Because the yellow is for them." He didn't explain who them was. "Second," he continued, "don't stare at the security monitors. If you need to check one, check it quickly. If something on the screen looks wrong, don't keep looking. The cameras remember faces." I swallowed. "And third," he said, "if a train arrives after I tell you the line is closed, you don't get on. Even if the door's open. Even if an announcement tells you to board. Even if you see someone you know inside." I frowned. "But if the line is closed, how would a train?" He cut me off with a hard look. "Just agree," he said. "Okay." He nodded, satisfied, or as close as he could get. We descended 2 more flights of stairs, passed through a heavy door that hissed when it opened, and emerged onto a platform I'd never seen before. It looked almost like any other in Tokyo: white tiles, black pillars, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. But there were small differences my brain cataloged without meaning to. There were no ads. No benches. No route maps. Just a long, empty platform and two tracks disappearing into dark tunnels at either end. A metal shutter had been pulled down over the stairs at the far side, the kind I'd seen close above public platforms when service ended. On this side, the only exit was the door we'd come through. Above us, a digital sign that probably once showed train times glowed a dull, sickly blue. Its pixels formed only two characters. 0. Track 0. My guide saw me looking. Built during the bubble years, he said. They thought they'd need more capacity. Then the plans changed, and this whole level was left off the official maps. Now it's just for inspections and special deliveries. Special? He gestured toward the hard drive case slung over my shoulder. That goes to monitoring, he said. They're in the control room at the center of the platform. You'll see the door. I'll walk you halfway. After that, I have to check the east tunnel. I followed him along the wall, careful to keep my feet on the inner tiles. The yellow safety line ran parallel to us like a mute river. Halfway down, I saw the control room, a boxy structure of tinted glass sitting in the middle of the platform, like a small aquarium filled with screens. Monitors lined every wall, showing camera feeds from all over the station, ticket gates, escalators, platforms full of people who'd already gone home. Only one thing made me stop. In every feed, even the ones clearly recorded hours ago, there was a figure. Sometimes he stood on a stairwell, head down, holding a briefcase. Sometimes he lingered by a ticket gate. Sometimes he sat in a plastic chair on a platform, hands folded. I couldn't see his face. The angle was always wrong, or the resolution too low. But I could tell it was the same person each time, the same gray suit, the same perfectly straight posture. Is that? I began. Don't stare, my guide reminded me sharply. I tore my eyes away. Inside the control room, two men in uniforms sat hunched over a console. One was maybe 30, with dark circles under his eyes. The other was older, hair thinning, fingers drumming restlessly on the desk. Neither looked up as I approached. This is the courier, my guide said. Package for monitoring. The younger man held out a hand without turning. I gave him the hard drive. Good, he muttered. Maybe we can get out of here before 4 for once. The older man glanced at me then, his gaze sharp and evaluating. They told you the rules, he asked. Yes. Then remember them. He pointed at the far end of the platform. When you're done here, do not try to go up those stairs. The shutter might look open from far away, but it isn't. Go back the way you came. I nodded. My guide clapped a hand on my shoulder. Wait here, he said. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Don't wander. He took a flashlight and disappeared into the east tunnel. For the first time since entering track 0, I was truly alone. The clock in the control room read 2:38. I leaned against a pillar, trying not to think about how much solid earth was above me. Shinjuku's towers. Streets. People asleep in apartments. From somewhere distant, a faint rumble vibrated through the floor, the sound of a maintenance train, maybe, or just the city shifting in its sleep. The men in the control room talked quietly, their voices muffled by glass. I should have stayed where I was. Instead, I drifted toward the windows, drawn by the glow of the screens. On one monitor, I saw the east ticket gates as they had been earlier that night, students rushing, tourists struggling with IC cards, salarymen in a river of black suits. In the corner of the frame, the gray-suited man stood perfectly still, facing the camera. On another, a view of the Yamanote Line platform from last week, according to the timestamp. People waiting in a neat line. The same gray figure at the very back, eyes on the ground. On a third, live footage from the surface, outside the station. A taxi queue. A convenience store. Neon signs blinking against the sky. The man in gray was there too, standing at the edge of the road. Who is he? I asked before I could stop myself. The younger operator glanced up, annoyed. Don't point, he said. I wasn't. He gestured toward the glass. Monitors reflect, he said. You don't want him to know which screen you're looking at. A tiny chill warmed between my shoulder blades. Is he a glitch? I asked. The older man snorted. Glitches don't knock, he said. I frowned. Knock? Before he could answer, the lights flickered. Just once. The low hum of the fluorescent bulbs paused, returned. The digital sign above the platform sparked, scrolling through nonsense symbols before settling back on 0. The men in the control room stiffened. Power dip, the younger one said. Is the West Tunnel crew doing something? The older man shook his head slowly. No, he said. That came from below. Below? I looked at the tracks. For the first time, I noticed that the tunnel walls were damp, beads of water clinging to the concrete like sweat. Something moved in the darkness at the far end. A pair of headlights. Faint at first, then brighter, growing with terrifying speed. A train. That's impossible, the younger operator said, his voice thin through the glass. The line is closed. Everything's locked out. The older man grabbed a phone, barked into it. Control, this is Track 0 monitoring. We have. The line went dead. I could see it in his eyes before he slammed the handset down. The train roared into the station. It wasn't any model I recognized. Sleek like the newer lines, but with an older, heavier frame. Its windows were too dark, reflections smear-streaked, faces indistinct. The metal sides were stained, as if something had once overflowed from every door. It didn't slow. It didn't stop. It screamed through the station in a blast of wind and pressure, rattling the air. I staggered back, eyes squeezed shut, the whistle of its passing drilling into my skull. Then, like a nightmare cut off mid-scene, it was gone. The echo of its passage lingered a moment, then faded into the low hum of fluorescent lights. My ears rang. What was that? I shouted. Neither operator answered. They were staring at a monitor I couldn't see from my angle, faces pale. Against my better judgment, I stepped closer to the control room, trying to catch the reflection in the glass. I saw the train, frozen on replay, captured by a camera deeper in the tunnel. The headlights glared into the lens, washing out details, but not enough to hide everything. In every window, someone stood pressed against the glass. Not sitting. Standing. Faces flattened, hands splayed, eyes wide. They weren't passengers. They were trying to get out. A soft chime sounded above us. Ding dong. The sound of an arriving train. The digital sign flickered. Instead of 0, it showed a line of text. Last train arriving. The tracks in front of us were empty. Door override, the older man breathed. Who gave it permission? The speakers crackled. A voice echoed through the platform, smooth and emotionless. The local service for Shinjuku Outer Ring will depart from Track 0, it said. Please stand behind the yellow line and board quickly. My skin crawled. There was no outer ring. There was no Track 0 on any map. I looked down the platform. The yellow safety line glowed faintly, like something alive. The men in the control room began flipping switches, typing frantically. It's pulling power from the whole grid, the younger said. If we don't isolate it. The lights went out. The station plunged into darkness. For a second I was blind. Then a cold, blue glow seeped in from the tunnel, washing everything in ghost light. The train stood in front of us. Silent. Waiting. This time it had stopped. Its doors slid open with a sigh. Inside, the carriage was dimly lit by the same cold blue. Metal poles, plastic seats, handles swaying slightly as if someone had just let go. Don't move, the older operator whispered, though I wasn't sure if he meant me or himself. The local service for Shinjuku Outer Ring is now boarding, the announcement repeated. All passengers, please board. Something brushed my shoulder. I spun. No one. Just the faint outline of a suit jacket in the reflection of the control room glass. I realized with a jolt that I was standing almost on top of the yellow line, 1 foot already halfway across. I jumped back. A shadow flickered at the edge of my vision. In the doorway of the nearest car, framed by the cold blue light, a man stood. Gray suit. Briefcase. Head tilted slightly, as if you were checking to see whether I'd heard. His face was wrong. Not monstrous. Not twisted. Just blurred, like a photograph taken at the exact moment someone turned away. Ren. He said my name like he'd said it many times before. My muscles locked. I've been watching you run, he continued conversationally. His voice sounded like it came from every speaker at once, a whisper threaded into static. The way you jump from walls, swing over railings. You're good at not falling. He tilted his head toward the tracks. Better than me. Behind him, in the carriage, people sat in the seats. At least, I thought they were people. They were still, too still, heads bowed, hands resting on their knees. Their skin had the gray tone of bad reception. The city forgets us, the man said. 1 rush hour delay, 1 personal injury on the tracks. Name pronounced wrong by the announcer. Phones move on. Lines move on. But we don't. He took a step forward. The platform under his foot didn't make a sound. Do you know how many cameras there are in Shinjuku? He asked softly. How many eyes watch you rush to your part-time job, your club, your dates? They see you even when you don't see them. The screens in the control room flickered. Every feed switched at once. Now, instead of strangers, they all showed me. Running across campus. Jumping a fence near my dorm. Weaving my bike through traffic. Always from behind, from above, from the side. Grainy, low-res, but definitely me. I saw you too, the man said. I saw you jump the barrier when the doors almost closed on that girl's backpack. I saw you grab the drunk guy's arm before he stumbled off the curb. You're good at moving. He extended a hand, palm up. I need someone like that on my side of the line. The rational part of my brain screamed that this was insane. That I was standing in a disused station, hallucinating. That I should run back to the maintenance door, pound on it until someone opened. But my legs wouldn't move. The air felt thick, syrupy. Don't listen, the older operator said sharply. He had picked up a long metal pole, the kind used to reset overhead signs, and was fumbling with a panel on the wall. It hooks you with your own voice. That's what it does. That's how it grew this big. Grew? I managed. It used to just be one man falling onto one track, he said. Now it's a whole ring underneath the city. A loop of every last train that never finished. Every near miss that became a hit. Every accident that was really a push. He yanked the panel open, sparks flying. Blue light flooded out, brighter than before. The man in the doorway flinched, his blurred face twisting. The seated figures behind him twitched, like puppets pulled by crossed strings. This line is closed, the operator shouted, not at me, but at the train. You hear me? Closed. No more boarding. No more collecting. The train hummed. The lights overhead flickered. For a second, through the floor, I felt something massive shift, the weight of a city's worth of ghosts protesting. Ren, the man said calmly, ignoring the operator. We both know how this ends. You'll keep running up there until your knees give out, until a car door doesn't open in time, until you misjudge a jump by half a shoe length. Or you can come now. While your legs still remember what they're for. He took another step. Now he stood directly over the yellow line. Only a few tiles separated us. My guide's voice echoed in my head. Never step on the yellow safety line. Not even by accident. I realized the man wasn't stepping on it either. He was hovering. Half a centimeter above, never touching. The operator jammed the metal pole into the open panel. A burst of white light exploded inside the box. Every screen in the control room went white, then black. The blue glow in the tunnel sputtered. The man in gray hissed, a sound like steam escaping. You think cutting one breaker will stop this? He snarled, his smooth tone gone. The city is wired with us. Every camera, every gate, every smartphone lens. He looked at me again. For you, he said, softer now, I'll open other doors. 6 stories up, on a rooftop. On a bridge over the Chua line. On that narrow ledge outside your dorm window you like to sit on when you think no one's watching. My heart stopped. No, I whispered. He smiled. You already brought us what we needed, he said, nodding toward the hard drive now plugged into the console. More eyes. More paths. The younger operator swore. He piggybacked on the update, he said. We just gave him live access to every new camera in the network. The floor shuddered. Far below, something roared, metal on metal, a chorus of incoming trains. We can't stop it now, the older man said. We can only keep it from growing faster. How? I asked. He looked at me with a mixture of apology and calculation. Run. I blinked. What? The train doors began to close. Slowly. Patiently. The man in gray didn't move. Track 0 likes you, the operator said. It's fixed on you. That means if you don't board, it has to chase. Every second it spends trying to catch you is a second it's not taking someone else. He jabbed the pole toward the emergency release on the maintenance door. Get back to the surface, he barked. Stay off the edge of platforms. Don't stand at the front of trains. Don't lean over railings. Run until sunrise if you have to. You're using me as bait, I realized. He didn't deny it. Better one runner than a car full of sleeping passengers, he said. The doors slid further. The gap was almost gone. Ren. The man's voice was right next to my ear. He was still at the doorway, but his whisper wrapped around me like a hand closing on my neck. Whatever happens, the older operator said, do not let it pull you onto the yellow. Not here, not anywhere. My body decided before my mind did. I ran. I don't remember the details of getting back to the maintenance corridor. I remember the weightless moment when my foot slipped and I had to grab a pillar, fingers scraping concrete. I remember seeing the yellow line under me, inches away, glowing like a warning sign in a dream. I remember the sound of the train doors slamming shut behind me, the screech of metal, the roar as it pulled away. And under all of it, like a second heartbeat, I remember footsteps that weren't mine. Matching me. Half a beat behind. I burst through the maintenance door and into the public hallway. Shinjuku looked almost normal again. Shutters down, kiosks closed, cleaning staff pushing carts. A few drunk stragglers arguing with each other. The overhead signboards showed ordinary times for ordinary trains that would come in a few hours. But the cameras were different. Every convex mirror, every black dome mounted on the ceiling, every phone screen in someone's hand, I could feel them following me. Watching. Waiting. I ran up to street level and kept running. Past convenience stores. Past karaoke boxes. Past the flickering neon of Kabuki-cho. Every time I passed a glass facade, I saw a reflection running behind me. Sometimes it was just me. Sometimes, for a fraction of a second, there was a second figure in a gray suit, keeping pace. I ran until the sky over Tokyo turned a dirty pink and the first early trains rattled across bridges. When I finally stopped, lungs burning, socks soaked with sweat, I was on a pedestrian overpass near my apartment. The city below yawned awake, trucks, buses, people in dark coats. My phone buzzed. A notification from an unknown number. I opened it with numb fingers. It was a video. Shaky, low quality, obviously recorded from some station camera. It showed me, standing on the pedestrian overpass where I currently stood, phone in hand. Behind me, just out of my awareness, a man in a gray suit approached. The video stopped right before he reached me. Underneath, a message. Next time, don't run alone. There are other last trains in this city. I looked up. The cameras on the traffic lights blinked red, then green. The screen of a passing truck flashed an ad for a new streaming service. Just for a second, the image glitched, replaced by the interior of an empty train car, blue-lit and waiting. I backed away from the railing. I haven't taken the last train since that night. I stay in the middle of platforms. I don't lean over to see if the train is coming. I never, ever stand on the yellow line. Sometimes, late at night, my phone vibrates with a video from an unknown number, someone walking too close to the edge at Ikebukuro, someone running down the stairs at Shibuya, someone scrolling their screen while the announcement says, "Please stand behind the yellow safety line." In the corner of every clip, there's always a gray suit. Always a blurred face. Always a hand reaching out towards someone who doesn't know they're being watched from every angle. If you visit Tokyo and ride the trains, you'll feel safe because the stations are bright and crowded. You'll stand on the edge for a better photo of the incoming train. You'll walk alone through Shinjuku's endless tunnels and think the cameras are there to protect you. Maybe they are. But if you ever find yourself on a platform after the last train, and the digital sign shows a line you've never heard of, and a train glides in without making a sound, check your feet. If you're already standing on the yellow line, it means it's not your platform anymore. It's his. And the last train under Shinjuku has finally arrived for you.